So I thought I'd jump on and just do this live stream. And what I'm going to have to do, because I literally set this up and then didn't know how to. I've got a new phone, and it does what it wants at the minute because I only had it a few weeks. And so you will see like a live stream with the same title for 5 seconds. So I'm going to delete it, so ignore that one. Anyone jumping on this live stream, feel free to leave your comments as we talk. And I've noticed yesterday, I was looking through my video catalogue, I was looking at the shorts that I do, and I was looking at the live streams, and I've noticed when I go live, usually I'll go live for, I think the longest one has probably only been like maybe 25 minutes now, because you've got all TikTok and you've got the shorts and you've got different advice about going 3 minutes and 10 minutes and all this sort of thing. You never know, like, what's the optimal time to maybe do a live stream. Now, for me, I've been watching people go live for 3 hours and 2 hours sometimes, but it has to be an interesting topic. Now, I want to head up to one day being able to do that. I don't even think I could sit for 3 hours and do a live stream, no matter what I was talking about. I just think it's too long. But for some people, they can keep your attention. And I didn't even realise that, because the other day when I was watching someone go live for 3 hours and I was working at the same time, but they were on in the background, I could have listened to them for another hour. That's how interesting they were. But then for other people, anyway, this is look at me, it's 1 minute in and I'm still talking. So let's get on with the actual live stream, and then we'll lead up to maybe doing a 2 hour. I'll do a 1 hour another time, and then a 2 hour, and then let's see, eventually one day I might do a 3 hour live stream. So what I want to talk about in this live stream is around the title, really, which is what you think about you become, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you create. Now, this isn't my saying. I got this as I was listening yesterday to a podcast. So sometimes when I'm working, I'm listening to podcasts, I'm listening to audiobooks, I'm listening to, if I find a YouTube channel just randomly and the person on there is talking about like personal development type stuff, goal setting, what else? Anything really. I mean, I listen to quite a lot of YouTube channels depending on what my interests are, and this is one of the things that I was listening to yesterday. So this wasn't the title, this was something the person said, and I thought, based on what they said in their podcast, I'm going to just expand on that. So let's see how we go with that, and leave your comments, let me know what you think. So I suppose what it's looking at is the idea that even though we can't control some of the thoughts that come into our head, you'll have a random thought that will come out of nowhere. Or if you've been through certain experiences, then you're going to keep thinking about it. You can't control the thought itself, but you can control how you respond to it and what you decide to do about it. So the same way that you can respond to a negative thought and you can continue to think in that way, you can also you can turn it into a positive, or you can respond to positive thoughts and gain the momentum. So a good example is when people have thoughts about themselves. So that's where the what you think about you become. If you think that you can never amount to anything because everyone in your family hasn't amounted to anything, because you've come from a particular background, or you have a particular amount of money, or because the government won't allow you to, or because this is happening or that's happening, then that thought you'll just be feeding that thought, and it will find even more evidence to prove what you're saying. Now, for me, sometimes as a counsellor, it can be really tricky, because you can't dismiss someone's thoughts that they have, even if all those thoughts about themselves or about the world are negative. It's not my role to change that person's thinking and say to them, don't think like this instead, because you have to acknowledge that that thought exists. But at the same time, you're not going to collude with a person who is thinking very negatively, and you're not just going to say, yes, you know what, that's true, you are a failure. Yeah, you're right, you won't amount to anything, because that wouldn't be productive for them, but also it wouldn't be authentic for you either as a counsellor, not even just a counsellor, just in general. So you have to think about, if you can't stop those thoughts from existing, then how you are going to respond to them. So you would already have a plan of action in place. So you might say to yourself, whenever this thought comes into my head that says I can't do this, or I'm not good enough, or I can't be this person, or I can't have this thing, question the thought. Why is this? Where is this coming from? Why do I believe that to be true? Is there any evidence to support it? Is there evidence that goes against it? Has there been other times in my life where I've maybe achieved the thing that I'm saying that I can't achieve now? Why am I feeling like this right now? Is it because of something that's happening in my life? A lot of times people don't really question their thoughts. They just sit with the thought, or they perpetuate the thought. They feed it even more. And I'm just going to be completely transparent and authentic. There are times in my career as a counsellor, if I'm working with certain groups of people at times where it is so overwhelming that those thoughts are so negative and they're just continuous, that I will still continue to, I will get to a point where I'm not here to get into to debate with you about that thought, because we've probably been working together maybe for 6 months and you still are feeling that way, that you are not good enough. You are still thinking that way, that you can't do anything. You're still thinking that way, that there's nothing worth working on. You're still thinking that way, that what's the point? I will get to a point where I will just allow that person to continue to say that, and then they have to get to a point where they either don't feel that way anymore, or they continue to think that way, and I'll sort of take a step back almost and say, this thought is so ingrained within that person. But it's also about, sometimes the thought is serving the person. If you say that you can't get a particular job, or you can't have a certain amount of money because you're, say, a black woman, if you were to have that theory, okay, you're not going to wake up one day and not become a black woman. So therefore, if you hold on to that thought for long enough, it means you don't then have to do anything, because you can say, I'm not saying that, some of those beliefs about that thought might be true. I'm not just saying a black woman because I'm a black woman. Anyone who says that, it can be true, but also the opposite could be that by you saying that is a fact, no one's going to give me a job, and I'm never going to get any money, and I'm never going to become more than I am, and I'm never. If you say that in a factual way and you hold on to that thought for the rest of your life, then that is where you will stay, because that is because you believe it so strongly that you're going to, there's no reason for you to do anything else to disprove it. It's the same as in, and it's not like to do with relationships where there's abuse, because I always separate the two things, because I want people to know that there's a difference of being in an abusive relationship. There's manipulation, coercion. But if you're in a relationship where you're not happy, and you continuously say, well, what's the point in leaving? Because I'm only going to move to another relationship and I'm going to be unhappy there. Or what's the point in me trying to make this any better, because they're never going to change. They've been like this for 15 years. When you say that as a person, what you're basically doing is admitting defeat, but you're also saying, I don't feel that I need to then put any energy or any effort or any thought or any action into anything else, because do you know what? This is what it is. This is how it is. And that is very disempowering as a human being. If you ever get to a stage in your life where you've given up on life because of just not giving up because you are depressed, and that's why I'm separating the two things here. Not giving up because you literally don't have the energy physically, because maybe you're ill as well physically, but giving up mentally because you are saying, this is how it is. This is the reason it is, and you hold on to that thought and that belief tightly. There's loads of people that do that. Maybe the media has convinced them that that's the case. Maybe everyone around them has convinced them that that's the case. Imagine being in an environment, even for children, if you start with children, if you start from the beginning, if you're in an environment where you want to go, say, off to university, or you want to educate yourself, or you have plans to run a massive business, or you are, as a 5-year-old, are saying to your mum and dad, one day I'm going to be a pilot, one day I'm going to be performing like that musician on TV. And your parents say, stop being so stupid. You're not going to be a pilot. You're only 5, you know what I mean? You should be thinking about how you're going to stay in school and blah, blah, blah. Or you should be thinking about taking over your dad's business. Or you should stop coming up with all these ideas. That from the moment that that sort of environment that you're in is constantly telling you what you should do, or that you shouldn't even have that thought of becoming more than you are, whether you're at 5, 15, 25, 50, whatever age, it's going to be really difficult to override that. So that's where the giving up part comes. Most people in that situation will just give in because it's not worth getting into battle with your parents over. If your parents want you to be a doctor, there was something, I think that was in the talk as well. The guy was saying, he was talking about goal setting, and he was saying that for many people, if their parents want them to be a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist or whatever it is, then they do it. They don't really want to do it, but they can't be bothered to be fighting or arguing with their parents, so they just go ahead with it. Loads of people, it's not that you don't have the fighting spirit, it's that they don't have the capacity, the energy, the willingness, the botheration to really just say, do you know what? No, I'm gonna have to graft for this. Do you know what? I feel I'm down in the dumps at the minute, but you know, it's going to take work for me to do this, but I'm going to get there. Do you know what? I don't feel like going to the gym today, but do you know what? I'm still going to go anyway. Do you know what? I don't feel like I'm ever going to get to that point where I feel confident about myself, but I'm going to work on it. I'm going to get the support. Or what? Most people don't want to, it's not that they don't want to, it's that the thought of actually putting effort to the level where you might have to put it in is too much for the average person to even contemplate. If someone says, here's a suitcase of money and, you know, there's £25,000 in there, spend it how you want, then obviously I'd say 100% of people are going to take that. If someone says that you can have £25,000 this year, but it means you're going to have to work 7 days a week, you're going to have to do this, this and that, you're going to have to do these reports, you're going to have to do whatever, the most of the people are going to say, well, no, I want to find that money a quicker way. And that is still back to what you think about, you become. Because if you think you can do something, then there's no one that really can talk you out of it if you're convinced of what you want. And that taps into what I'm going to talk about in a minute, where I'm talking about the steps. But I just want to talk about this like key thing first, is that if you wake up every day and you think that you've got this, do you know what I mean? Some days you're not going to have happy days every day. Now, I'm an optimistic person, but come on, I'm not going to pretend I'm perfect, or that every single day I'm happy, or that there's times where I don't feel stressed, or there's times where I don't feel, oh gosh, another email, another phone call, or this member of my family's doing my head in. Like today, and also getting up early sort of every single day, most of the days. But today there was like traffic, and there was, I got to like my nephew's house and no one would answer the door. I was there, I'm ringing the bell and I'm knocking the door and I'm knocking and I'm saying, I'm going to leave this outside when I'm phoning my sister. They're all in bed. And it's kind of like, I know I get up early, but even then I was like, oh my gosh, I've just driven halfway across Birmingham. I've driven 40 minutes to get here. Everyone's in bed. No one will answer the door. You know, we're all human. But the point is, if I can get to the point of that story, because I know sometimes I'm going on a bit, is that if you think and you believe something about yourself strongly enough and you hold that belief, then no one can take that away from you. No one can crush you down, you know, bring you down. No matter what, as I was talking about this earlier on as well, consuming the media, especially news stories. So when I go on YouTube, I'll look at the top headlines and I will select. Now, sometimes I regret it, because if I go on MSN and I select a certain story, I can be thinking about that all day. Now, imagine if people who watch Sky News every day, all day, or for 3 hours a day, their mindset, their mood, their emotions, and just how they feel generally are probably going to be really heavy. Because I can listen to one story, just one, about someone being killed, or about someone being kidnapped, or about the economy or whatever it is, and I feel sad, like I need to like reframe just from one story or a mini story about something, because it's all things that are happening outside of your control, that are negative things that are happening, that you've got no power to change, but that you're still absorbing. So what you think about you become means that if you think that the world is a dangerous place and you watch all of these news stories and you sit there and you feel, I can't control this, I can't do anything about this, but I've just seen the picture. The news is filling you with these pictures of faces of victims. The news is filling your head with with stories of pitting people against each other, division. You know, I'm just going to say, I'm a fan of like Russell Brand, for example. I've subscribed to his YouTube channel. I've been watching him for years. I haven't bought his books, but when he was doing Big Brother's Little Brother, I don't know 100%. I can't stand there and say for 100% what the news is saying about him is true or not true, because I don't know him personally. But I can see how, like, kind of some of the stories that they're bringing in, and I'm only bringing this in as one example, because there's loads of other examples you could do, but it's not about celebrities on this live stream, of how if he was innocent, which no one knows if he is or isn't, you'd probably be, if you didn't like him as a person or you've got an issue with him, the stories and the way that they're gearing the stories towards, because every time I click on, as I said, I don't even read the stories themselves. I've seen his interview, I've seen people talking about it, and I've seen the clips. There's a real strong bias towards, do you know what I mean, this person is guilty. And if we're just fed things, because the media is obviously a machine, and even I don't come on my like YouTube channels or any platforms getting into political things. I don't like even talk about in depth the like manipulation that the media uses, and even to suppress society into like behaving in a particular way, thinking in a certain way, dividing people amongst each other. So what you have to think about is, who do you want to be? Who do you want to become? That's where your thoughts have to be. You have to think about the type of person you want to be. If I want to be a good counsellor, then I have to think like that I'm good at what I do. And then I have to go out there and prove that by doing more training, by getting more knowledge, by working with more clients, so that people, they're the ones that are going to, the clients or whoever is around you are the people that are going to tell you whether what you believe is true. You can brag all you want about how brilliant you are as a person, but if no one else agrees with that, then is it true? I mean, it still could be true because it is about obviously self-prophecy as well. But if everyone around you is saying, no, you know what I mean, you're a horrible person, or you're, there's no evidence from us, we don't ever see you, or you don't ever do anything for us, or you, when you're around, I don't pick up on good energy and stuff, then you might believe that that's not true. But if lots of people are saying it, then could there be an element that it could be true to a certain degree? So the whole thing about your thoughts are that you have to respond to them in the way that you want. So you have to decide, what is this thought something that I can just let go of? So here it goes again, this self-critical thought is popping into my head that I'm not good enough. What do I do with it? Do I feed it? Do you know what? Yeah, I'm not good enough because my last boyfriend said that to me. I'm not good enough because every time I go for a job, no one gives it to me. I'm not good enough because, I don't know, so-and-so down the road, this stranger down the road said I wasn't good enough. I'm not good enough because this. So if you continue to feed it, then the end result will be that you will continue to say it, you will continue to believe it, and then it will just go from there. Or you could say, I'm going to let this thought go because, do you know what, I've been having this thought for quite a long time. There's no evidence to say that. Or you can turn around and you can have a counter argument. Well, what's the evidence against it? If I wasn't good enough, then why is it that I've been in this wonderful relationship with someone and they, you know, are happy with me, we've been married, there's no issue there. Why is it that at work everyone's giving me lots of praise? Why is it then, if I'm not good enough, that, you know, I've achieved this in my life or whatever it is? Or you don't even have to give yourself evidence. You could just say, I am good enough. You could just decide. And sometimes when you say to people, sometimes as a counsellor, because obviously I'm a counsellor, I'm a coach, And then I'm also a human being outside of those two things. And personal development is something I've done my whole life, regardless of when I was a counsellor or a coach. Everyone knows, if you've been watching my videos for years, I was bullied at school. But even when I was being bullied at school, I felt like a bit of like, they're a bit sad because you got these people who don't really know me, and jealousy because obviously I'm doing well at school and stuff. 1 minute they're trying to copy my work and then the next minute they're kind of calling me names and stuff. And I still felt, even then I didn't agree with what they were saying or didn't feel bad about myself. I just felt sad in this about the situation, and also thinking, you know what I mean, who are these idiots that are like bullying me every day when I've not done anything to them? It's just group pack mentality. The minute I left school at the age of 16, I didn't look back. Went on to college, went on to university. I didn't think about those bullies because I thought to myself, where are they now? Except even when I bumped into one of them actually at the job centre. Was it the job centre? No, it wasn't. Was he working at? I don't know. I bumped it. It was either outside the job centre or whatever it was. I don't know why that came into my head, but it probably was. Trying to, I think they were like just looking, but then they just put their head down. But what I'm trying to say with that whole thing is that you can't allow situations in your life or some of the things that have like other people have kind of said to you, you can't own it, you can't absorb it. You can make a decision right there and then, that just because someone believes that about me, it doesn't mean that it's true. Just because someone thinks that about me, it doesn't mean I have to absorb it. I don't have to own it. You don't have to own anything. You know, you can take feedback, you can take it on board, you can brush it aside, you can learn from it, you can choose to let it go. You've got choices. So that's the thought side of things. Now, the other bit is what you feel you attract. So you don't attract things by just saying things and doing this manifestation. Now, I believe in law of attraction, but I believe more strongly in law of action. Because law of attraction is based on, you know, this idea that you will attract things into your life, that you can manifest things. Now, I'm not someone that's ever going to sit on a chair and recite mantras, I want £1,000. I will attract so-and-so, a partner, blah, 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 all these things, and then just sit on the chair the next day reciting the same things. Because I'll be honest, even though these people that believe in like law of attraction 100%, they say that, you know, it's going to come to you, the opportunity is going to come to you. If you sit there and you think of a ladder, there was a lady that was, I mean, I think I've subscribed to her channel, so I've got to be careful, but she said, you think, it's not her idea, but I think it's Bob Proctor or someone, Neville Goddard, someone of those gurus said to think of a ladder, and you go to bed thinking of not climbing a ladder or something, and then apparently a ladder will appear. Now, I still don't get it, that even if that happens, what has the ladder got to do with anything? I think the idea was that you can manifest a ladder, a situation. I don't know, I still don't get it to this day, but anyway, the point is, sitting and thinking about something and then just like wishing it to happen is not going to happen unless you put action into place. But you first have to feel that it's possible. You're not going to attract anything into your life if you don't think it's even possible of happening. So the key thing there is you've got to use your subconscious mind will override your conscious mind. So you can say that I know I'm going to, you know, do well at run this business, or I know I'm going to publish a book. But if you don't feel like you're an author and you don't feel like you're a business owner, but you're just kind of faking it, you know, pretending that that's who you are, pretending that that's what you're going to do, or not genuinely thinking that it's ever possible, then it's unlikely that even the opportunities are going to present themselves, or when they do, that you're going to take the opportunities. Because you're not going to feel that opportunity is for you, because you're going to be thinking, well, that can't be for me because I'm not ready yet, you know, or you're going to actually sabotage yourself. Now, I've even been in that situation where if I didn't feel strongly enough about, I've been in social work teams when I first started as a social worker, where even, I mean, I've even been in, I can remember negotiating my salary for some jobs when I was a social worker, and talking myself out of a higher salary because I didn't think I was worth the salary that they were offering. and I'd almost be like too embarrassed to accept the offer, so I'd negotiate. And this was as an agency social worker, you can go in there and you can get high amounts. I mean, I did do that eventually because I thought, do you know what, I'm good enough to get this amount of money, and look at the work they're asking me to do, so why shouldn't I be negotiating? And even my agency workers at the time would say, Marianne, why did you get that amount? When I first started, you could have got much more for your experience and your skills and your work ethic. So this is what I mean, like if you don't feel that you are something, then you're not going to attract that opportunity or at that level. You have to walk out into the world sometimes feeling like you are, you know, I'm not going to copy like other people's books like Jen Sincero, you are a badass and that sort of thing. But you do have to literally go out there thinking this, you know, I'm the person. I'm not going to use, oh, look at me today. Today my communication isn't the best. I'm not going to lie. But people are going out there and they're feeling like with their heads down and feeling like they're not good enough and feeling like someone else can put them in their place, or they're feeling inferior, you know, or they're feeling like they can't be themselves. And you just have to you've only got one life, and each day that you are spending in your life being small and feeling inferior and feeling like you're not good enough is a day wasted, because you're never going to get that day back. So you just have to say to yourself that I'm going to have the energy, and I'm going to focus my energy and my time into becoming that person that I want to become, and into not focusing on all the on the petty stuff. You know, there's too much like petty stuff in a day. Like I'm so like focused these days. I mean, I'm not as focused as I could be, because if I was focused as I could be, I wouldn't watch any TV at all. Now, I do watch more TV than I should. And I am in the process of actually considering just getting rid of my Sky TV anyway, because the only programmes I watch these days on Sky are Judge Judy, and I watch Sister Wives because I like that. And I watch like this Love Experiment, it's called, on MTV. Teen Mum as well. Actually, I didn't watch Teen Mum this week. But the majority of the programmes that then when I do watch are not on the normal TV, like MasterChef and stuff. But even then, sometimes I'm even getting bored of like, they're just on in the background. I'm doing my laptop stuff and my work. But when you get hyper-focused and you focus your energy onto the thing that you want, it's not always about work. It could be you want a brilliant marriage or relationship. You know, you want to move to, I've got my goals, I've written them down, because yesterday when I was listening to the goal setting podcast, I wrote down how many have I got on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I can't prioritise down to 3, but I've got 8 main goals, and everything I do I'm sort of working towards focusing on those goals. But you have to get focused. You have to feel like it's possible. You can sometimes, that the person in the podcast said, if you write, all your goals that you write down need to be big ones, because I used to just write down like small goals, like, do you know what I mean? I've achieved them anyway, like, so it might be getting a new laptop, getting a new phone, I don't know, what else did I put? Just silly ones, but you know what? You already know you're going to achieve them, because that's not hard to do. Do you know what I mean? It's not hard to get, even though it did take me a long time before you know, I got this new laptop, and it did cost like a bit more than I wanted to spend. You can do that anytime. It's not really a goal. That shouldn't even really be on there. Traveling abroad. You can do that anytime, and that is still a big thing, because I'm traveling solo for the first time, but I don't consider that to be a massive goal. Some of the goals that I've put down are things that are going to take more work, they're going to take more effort. And what he was talking about is it's what you become when you achieve that goal, and you should be looking at that goal and you should be feeling a bit scared, because you should think, oh, this is a big one now. And some of mine, you know, like publishing a book, just there's other things on there which I'm trying to look, but I can't see them from here, because they're in that. I usually sit with my desk and I'll have certain things in front of me, and you've just got to, you just have to think that nothing is beyond the realms of possibility. Nothing. Okay, well, some things, but the majority of things, the things that we worry about, or the things that we don't think are possible, are definitely possible, but we just have to feel that we can attract them into our lives. I mean, if you in a relationship already, then building on that relationship and making it better than it is easier than if you're not in a relationship and you're trying to attract someone. Because if you think about that for a minute, you already have a platform or foundation to work on. If you're in a relationship and it's not going well, you've got a foundation because you're already there, you're with that person. So there's a bit of a foundation. If you're single and you're looking for a relationship, to attract that into your life, first of all, you have to do the work on yourself. Then you have to meet someone who recognizes what you have and they want something that you've got. Then you have to get to know that person, and even that in itself, getting through that first few dates, date nights, you know, being impressed enough with each other that it leads to third, fourth, fifth date. Then the first, 1 to 3 months where you're still in that being on your best behavior. Then going further than that, then making it official and all that stuff. That is a journey in itself. That puts people off dating straight away. And that's another thing. If you want to attract something, or you really believe that it's possible, you can't give up just because you've been on I don't know how many dates, or you feel that, which is the other thing that people do, so this is linked with it, is they want something, then they try it and it doesn't work, they fail at it, or I don't use the word failure because they try it doesn't work. Then they make a massive assumption or generalization that, okay, because I've tried and it's not worked, then that means it's not possible to happen anyway. Or, I give up on the dating pool. Then they find lots of other people who feel the same. Now, if you go on Facebook or on Instagram or on YouTube, you can find loads of groups and loads of comments about people talking about, they'll watch a video and then they'll say, you're better off being single. It's safer being single. I've been single for 50 years. I've never needed anyone. Single life is safer because if you meet the wrong person. Now, if someone was tapped in or tuned into that type of thinking, and every platform they went on, they had those type of comments with no other balancing comments, then that person is probably going to just follow that path because they're going to think, do you know what, they're all right. All of these people that have said, it's not worth falling in love, or it's too much of a hassle. So that's where you have to think about what you want. Then you have to decide on whether you think it's possible. Then you have to decide on whether you're prepared to give up. If you want something badly enough, then you're not going to give up till you get it. It doesn't matter if you have to go on. I said this story to someone I was speaking to recently. I went on a date with someone years ago. He'd been on 250 dates, and I was number 251. I already said before, when he told me that I'm that number, I already said to him that I don't think we're going to be a couple, because I said, if you've met 250 women and none of them were right for you, then I don't know what you're looking for. And I wasn't even going to speak to him about what qualities I have or nothing, because 250 people that's a lot of people to reject. So so no matter what I was, or if we were a match, later down the line he's probably going to find something wrong with me, because that is too many dates to not connect with someone. Anyway, he found what he wanted because he got married, he's got kids. I'm still friends with him on Facebook. But the point of that is he didn't give up because that's what he wanted. And look, he got what he wanted. He got his wife because maybe he went on another 300 dates. So you don't just give up and say, because everyone around you is saying, dating these days is just lots of flirting and sex and swiping and all this. Let those people who want to do the swiping, the having sex or doing whatever, let them do that. If they want to find love that way, then that's up to them. That doesn't mean that is the basis for everyone else. You need to decide what you want, and you need to focus on what you want, which is the third thing, which is what you imagine you create. So you have to decide where to focus your energy so it will lead you to your desired destination. Wherever you are in your life is because you haven't fully made yourself get there. I'm not going to say that. There's going to be things along the way that you had no control over. There's going to be things that you planned and they didn't work out. But the point of the matter is, there's no final destination. until you're at the very end of your life. So so you just keep trying, you keep going, you say, okay, well, I've tried this didn't work, so let me try again. So I need to reframe and then adjust, and then I try again. But you don't give up. Not if you want something badly enough. You just keep going. So all I'm going to give you is a few steps now, because I've kind of gone all over the houses with this, but that's what happens when I go live. It's like I've got so many thoughts in my head and so many ideas, and I want to put them all into like a video, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But you know what? Hopefully you still enjoy the live stream. These are the steps. These are the 4 steps that I would say as a counsellor, as a coach, and just as myself into personal development, that you need to do if you want to, based on what we've said, thinking about what you become, feeling what you attract, and imagining what you create. So the first thing is to train your thoughts. Stop getting into this idea and this ideology that your thoughts don't belong to you. You have the power over your thoughts. If you think about the amount of things that we have developed as human beings over the last few years. In the 1970s, if someone would have said, you're going to be sat one day talking through a phone, and there's going to be a camera on it, and you're going to be able to send an email, they would look at you and they'd probably section you. What are you talking about? Phones? You know, what do you mean? You're going to be able to walk around with a phone in your hand? You're going to be able to send an email from it? You're going to be able to make a phone call on your phone, as in like to another country. People would be looking at you crazy. Look at all the things that people have developed. Someone has woke up one day and just decided that they're going to create, an electric car. They're going to create a post-it note. They're going to create everything that we're seeing, or most things. An inventor one day had to sit and probably get laughed at about 1,000 times, because maybe they went into someone's office and that person said, what are you talking about? That's not going to work. What do you mean a selfie stick? No one's going to want to hold a stick with a phone and use it as a prop. Don't be silly, get out of here. How many people had to be rejected with ideas? So what I'm trying to say is our brains are powerful. We don't use half of our brain power. So next time you are having thoughts and you're saying to yourself, I can't control my thoughts, or I'm not in control of this, or I'm thinking in this way. You can think in one direction and go down a rabbit hole. You can think in another direction. Imagine if you harness your power, and instead of all the negative thoughts, you turn them all into positive thoughts. Sky's the limit. Positivity and positive thoughts is like an energy in itself. Do you know what I mean? If you're having a day where you're high on life, which, this happens to me occasionally. I have days where I can't even sleep because my energy levels are just like there's electricity running through me, it feels like, because I've got ideas. This is when, on that day where I finished my book, because I've got 3 books. One of them I've been writing for 2.5 years. It's complete, but I need to publish it. The other 2 books are still half written. On that day, when I was on a train, and I'm writing chapters of my book, and I'm just flowing and I'm just excited. I don't get many days like that where it's like my energy is like that, buzzing, if you like. I've also made videos about this, because there's a book called Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, and she talks about buzzing and running your energy and that sort of thing. It's a completely different concept. But we can train our thoughts to just be powerful. We can train our thoughts to be positive. We can train our thoughts to help us. We're in control of them. They're not in control of us. So that's the first thing. If you understand that, if you accept that, if you acknowledge that, then you can definitely do something about it. I don't let my thoughts get the better of me. If I have a negative thought, which doesn't happen much because my brain isn't, I would never call myself a name, put it that way. I'm not going to call myself stupid, and I'm not going to say you're not good enough, or you're dumb, or look what you've done. I'm not trained to say that, because why am I going to beat myself up? Because of the personal development I've done, but also because of how I feel about myself, I'm not going to call myself stupid. And I'm also not going to allow another person to be disrespectful towards me, but I will accept feedback. and they can sort of say what they want about me. I can't control another person's communication. I can't stop them from saying what they want to say or thinking what they want to think. And that's the thing about when you train your thoughts in a particular way, it means that you are not going. You're self-aware enough to say, do you know what? I'm not going down that path of self-criticism. I'm not looking in the mirror today and start beating myself up. I'm not going to go down that path of overthinking today. It's training, it's rewiring, and it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight, but you can do it. The second one is to get hyper-focused. Eliminate what doesn't serve you. Let's be honest. There's so much things that are tempting. There's so much temptations. Now, I'm so lucky that I don't have Netflix, because when I go on to Airbnb and I stay over, I love watching Netflix, but I remember how addictive it was, because when I was on an Airbnb, and because everyone kept going on about Netflix, Netflix this, Netflix that, and I thought, well, it can't be that good. I was addicted. I was watching episode, then next episode, and I remember I watched Love is Blind and this other series till 1 a.m. I've never done that. I've never watched TV till 1 a.m. But you just had to watch the next episode. And I thought, I'm so glad I don't have this at home, because if I had that, I'd be just addicted to watching it. I'm already bad enough with, as I've said, normal TV. Sometimes I'll watch programs, but I'll still at least have my laptop on and do stuff. However, you have to be hyper-focused and eliminate some things that you don't want to eliminate, but you're going to have to. If you want something badly enough, then you're going to have to maybe eliminate some things. You might have to eliminate sleep for a little while. You might have to eliminate not seeing your friends for a little bit. You might have to eliminate move to a quieter location. You might have to move to a busier location. There are so many people that are living in the middle of nowhere, rural areas, and they love the quietness, but then they also say they're lonely, isolated, don't see anyone, miss the hustle and bustle, want to meet someone, but there's no one in their areas. And there's so many people living in cities where they say, it's so busy, it's so hectic, I'd rather be by the sea, I'd rather be in the quiet, but they don't take that step. Get focused and get what you want. There's nothing stopping you from having those things, but you have to do that. And that's the third bit, which is to get clear on what it is you actually want. Majority of people in life don't know what they want specifically, because there's too much choice available as well. That doesn't help. Dating is one of the key examples. Someone will, before they get onto Tinder or on these dating sites, they will have a clear picture in their mind of what type of person they want to be with. The minute they get onto Tinder, I'm not going on any site that you just swipe back and forth continuously like a zombie based on someone's face. I'm just not doing it. I don't get the concept. I've been on dating sites where you have to fill a profile in. It can take you up to an hour. eHarmony, Elite Singles, you have to fill a proper profile in. You have to look at, when you get a chance to read proper profiles and things. I'm not saying that any matching sites, to be fair, work or don't work, because people can meet on Tinder and they can have fantastic lives. People can go on eHarmony and not have good lives. It's all about the people, so it's not about the device. But for me personally, I just think even from the starting point, it's the foundation for me. It's too quick and easy. Just to go like this, back and forth. Yeah, I've chose you. Yeah, I've chose you. Yeah, and it's based on what you look like, type thing. And I know on the sites, obviously, it's looks, but to me, it's about the profile. If someone doesn't fill in a profile properly and they can't be bothered, the amount of when I was on eHarmony, ask me and I'll tell you. Well, no, if you can't be bothered to fill in your profile, then no, you're already, I'm not even going to look at you, even if you might be the most perfect, handsome man in the world. But if you can't even be bothered to fill in your profile, then I'm not going to even speak to you. Because that's the first step. That is telling me something about your character. You can't be bothered to do that. So anyway, back to being clear on what you want. Sometimes people are so clear on what they want in a partner, but then they get sidetracked because they'll watch a program like Love Island or Married at First Sight or all these programs, and they'll see that's the type of woman you should have or man you should have. And the media will fill you with Joel Dommett types and what's he called, Dermot O'Leary. So if you're seeing that all the time, is banter type person. I'm not going to use the word bland because everyone has a personality, but if the media keeps feeding you types of people, whether it's men or women, and if all the programs are feeding you that, and if society is feeding you that, and if Instagram is feeding you that, and everywhere you go it's feeding you that, as that's the perfect type of woman or relationship, that's the perfect type of man and the type of banter or personality, you start to question then what it is that you want. And then if you can't find what you want, you end up going for that type of person because it's easier to find, and because society has already programmed you to say that's what you should have because that's what everyone else is into. If everyone else on all these shows keeps saying, oh, my ideal's Ryan Reynolds, or my perfect man or woman is this person, you then start to believe that yourself. Now, what you have to do is have a mind of your own. You have your picture and you be clear on what you want. And even if there's 1,000 people who are not what you want, you're only looking for one. You're only looking for one person. So you forget, like, if you're on a dating site or if you're walking around, it's not even about dating, but whatever you're looking for, you only need one person. So if the world has got billions of people, then don't discount the one that you want because you feel you can't find him or her. Say to yourself, well, maybe I have to go to, I was going to say a country then that's got a war at the minute. Say you have to go to this country, or say you have to go out of your comfort zone and move down to, like, the coast, or maybe you do have to move to a bigger city. Maybe you have to move to London, even though you don't like London, but maybe you'll find your man there or your woman there, and then you can both move to the countryside. Just think outside the box. Do whatever it takes. If you're clear on what you want, then nothing should stop you. That's how I feel anyway. I'll keep trying for the things that I want. I've set my goals. They might not happen this year, but they're going to happen because I'm determined to make sure that they do. And the final thing, you'd be happy to know, because as I said, I'm not going to be doing these live streams. I know that I'm not going to get loads of views on live streams that are this long, but you know what? I'm pushing myself and experimenting with different levels of live streams, and I'm trying to do a different format. But let's see what happens. Is to unleash your power. What else have I put? And to believe in yourself. Do you know what I mean? You have to back yourself. There's no point in waiting for other people to validate you and tell you how wonderful you are. But also, there is no point in not bragging about who you are. If you don't want to brag to other people, brag to yourself. Just say, I'm a damn good, I remember when I split with my ex, and I split up with him. And then we were friends, like, for a little bit. And then he kept popping up every now and again saying, oh, this is my new girlfriend, but she's not as good as you, or this. And I'm thinking, I'm not getting into these games with you because I don't know what you're trying to prove. We've split up. You've moved on. I've moved on. I don't know why I need to know what your girlfriend is, and I don't know why you're saying she's not good as me. It weren't making me feel good because I already know, and I just replied back to him. I said, I know that I was a good girlfriend. I split up with you. So, I'm not saying he was, what I was trying to say to him is, I know that I'm a good girlfriend because when I'm in a relationship with someone, I know I don't do anything to hurt that person because I would rather not be in that relationship with them. It's the same as when people say you're a good, when I was a social worker and I was doing what I was meant to do, but I was going over and beyond. I know that I'm a good social worker, but I don't need my boss to tell me that I'm a good social worker. I need them to prove it then in a certain way. Prove it, give me a bonus. If I've been working for you for 5 years and you've been telling me all that time you're taking really difficult cases, you're doing more assessments than some other people. We're giving you this work because we know you can handle it. Okay, well, thanks for all of that. Thank you, I already know that. Now give me a bonus. Do you know what I mean? It's like you have to back yourself. If you know you're good at something, and if you know that no one's good at everything and no one's perfect, so that's not what it's about. But if you know that you're good, believe in yourself. Don't wait for other people to, because if you wait for validation, what about when they remove the validation? That's why, like, I don't seek validation from family, from friends, or from colleagues, from anyone. Because if my mum or whoever it is tells me how good I am one day because they feel that I'm doing good, But then tomorrow they say, do you know what, you're not that good and you need to do this. I don't want people to put conditions on me. So I don't allow them to tell me. I don't seek validation from them. I seek it from myself. So I'll put conditions on myself. So all you've got to do, if you believe in yourself, it means you're self-aware. You know your flaws. You know your positives. You continue to work on yourself. And it's self-awareness is key, because it can take you anywhere, because a self-aware person knows when they're not doing as good as they could do. I know when I haven't given my best, whether it's in a counselling session or whether it's... And then what I do is I will review and I will say, do you know what, I'm going to give my best tomorrow, because, or with the next session. Or do you know what, I didn't do as good as I could have done with that communication that I had with my sister. So tomorrow I'm going to make it right. I didn't do the best that I could have done with that report. When I was a social worker doing fostering reports, if I didn't put 100% in and give it my best, then the next time I'd say, do you know what, I'm going to do even better. And what worked with that is, it's not even about the validation. I would get the recognition from the company, because they'd say, do you know what, your report writing has really improved, Marianne. What's happened there? Not what's happened. They'd say, that report was really good. And it feels nice when you go to a fostering panel, because it takes like months to put these reports together. It takes, I don't know how many hours, because you can't calculate, but it's loads of hours to write them. When you go to a fostering panel and everyone on that panel says, this was a really well written report, it feels good, because you know that you've put the effort in. When you go though and you get loads of red marks saying, oh, you have to adjust this, I still take it as feedback and learning, but it doesn't feel good. Because I say to myself, do you know what, Marianne, you could have done better. Without seeing what the corrections, I say you could have done better. So believe in yourself, back yourself, realise that, you know, it's not just about sitting there talking, doing mantras, doing affirmations. All of those stuff is brilliant, but you have to take action. You have to start with your thoughts. You have to take control of those thoughts. You have to put the imagination in, the visualisation. You have to believe it. You could be sat on the side of the street and you don't own anything at all, but if you can imagine and you believe that it's possible that you're going to get to another level, then it's going to happen one day, but you're also going to have to take action. You could be sitting somewhere right now and you could be in poverty and you don't have enough money, or you just in a situation you don't want to be in, a relationship you don't want to be in. Any situation that you're in, you still can say to yourself, I can have the thoughts. Yes, this person has just put a brilliant quote. Faith without work is dead. Yeah. So just believing in something, or just having the faith, but not doing the work for it to come to fruition, is pointless. Because all you're going to do is just sit there thinking about it, believing it, but you're not going to do anything about it. Even today, I mean, I've not got my suit jacket on now, but sometimes I'll just put on like a blazer, like on top. I'll still go casual, but even when I've dressed differently, I'll feel differently, and I'll put on my little blazers, because I've got a few, but I haven't got many, and I don't dress up. And I might just be going to the shop. I might just be walking down to Greg's. Today I was going somewhere important, but even that changes, because, and then I'll say to myself, I'm a business owner, I run a business, I want to look like that. Do you know what I mean? I want to look, I want to feel like a business owner. So I think, yeah, the same things you can do with anything in your life. If you want to be a certain type of person, then act like it, dress like it, think like it. Yeah, this is so simple, but we can so easily forget. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching. But it's all simple stuff. It's not nothing, there's no rocket science. And it's not even my information. As I've said, all this stuff about like, what you think about, you become, what you feel, you attract, what you imagine, you create. It's been out there for years. Some of the older stuff, you know, from the monks and from like the Japanese and the Chinese are brilliant with their like Eastern philosophies and things. These books have been out there for centuries. We can all tap into them, but it's just about whether we want to do it. But this is the time, in this time at the moment, the battle that we're really fighting against is the media. Because it manipulates people into thinking, believing, and acting in a certain way. It wants to keep, there's fear-mongering, and there's lots of biased, negative news to keep people divided, mainly, and to keep people fearful, and to try and control people. And so if you're in that situation where you're being influenced heavily by that, you're going to feel trapped. You're going to feel like you can't make any decisions and choices. You're going to feel like, what's the point? You're going to give up, because that is what's the media's intention. It's to make you feel like the government has got something, I was going to use a term, but I'll leave that. It's just to make you feel that you are trapped, but you're not. You're not. Your thoughts are free. You can train your thoughts. You can get hyper focused. You can get clear, and you can just go for it. What have you got to lose? If you go for it and you fail, then you fail. Then you try again, or you just say, at least I tried. So I'm going to end the live stream here because I've gone. I don't know what I was experimenting with. But you know what? I really appreciate people that have joined me on this live stream, especially because it's been nearly an hour, which wasn't planned. I'm going to do longer live streams on topics where I think that people will benefit from, because that's the whole point, really. Join in the discussion. I really appreciate people that have taken the time to watch, to contribute to the discussion. And I'm going to probably be looking at I do my uploads, my normal recorded uploads on a Monday is my book reviews. On a Thursday is my normal counselling topic. Oh, you're in Australia. Okay. Good night then, because I don't know what time it is over there. It's probably like, it must be like 2 a.m. Thanks for joining me. Okay, thank you. So I'm probably going to do live streams, maybe 11 o'clock at night. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, good night then. Thank you for staying up and watching this. So that's what I'm going to do, probably go live stream I'll try and aim for maybe every 2 weeks or every month. I've got to get better because I'm even bad on Instagram as well. I don't really go live on there. Thank you anyway. And anyone watching on the replay, leave your comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Take care. I'm going to end. Bye for now.